Hi and welcome to Outwell and to our Hollywood Freeway tall from our Smart Air touring collection. This is a drive-away awning which is designed to fit any vehicles between 240 and 290 centimetres in height. For me, a key defining feature of this particular drive-away awning is the frame that we're using here. Now this, as the name suggests, is part of our Smart Air collection, so what you'll find is in place of the traditional steel or fiberglass frame, you actually have a frame that's made up of inflatable tubes. Quite specifically to this version, we're using our one-go inflation technology, which allows you to actually inflate the entire tent from just one single input valve for the pump, so the whole thing goes up very easily, very quickly and very simply. What you'll find is with the tent we supply this double action hand pump here. So as I say, we just use this to inflate the tent very quickly and easily. You'll find that on top of the pump you have a manometer just on here which allows you to keep an eye on the pressure of the tent, and we would recommend inflating this between 0.6 and 0.8 bar, or round about sort of 8.5 to 11.5 psi. So what that means actually is there's a lot of air going into these tubes, which gives a real good solid and rigid structure, so ideal for use even in strong wind conditions. The pump itself, as I mentioned there, just gets plugged in to the valve on the side here. So in the middle of the tent you'll see that we have this section here which says air in. So just underneath here you'll find a valve, as I say, where we just attach the pump and just start easily inflating the tent from here. You'll also find then that each tube, when it comes to deflating the tent, has its own outlet valve. So all we have to do is just turn this valve to the open position, and you'll find that the air will easily come out of the tubes, making packing away the tent really quick and simple and easy to do as well. So what I want to do now is just pop to the inside of the tent and take you through some of the details there. So you can see at the front of the tent here you have this canopy which is just created using one single pole that runs from side to side here, and that's just going to give you a nice sheltered area so that if it's a little bit drizzly then obviously you're going to keep the front of the tent sheltered, or if you're lucky enough for it to be a lovely hot sunny day you actually have somewhere that you can sit and get a little bit of shade as well. Now the front door of this tent has actually quite a few features itself. So we have two large separate doors here, and what we can actually do is open this whole front up to create a completely open fronted tent. There's also some mesh panels behind here, so again you can get rid of the outside door and just have mesh across, keeping your tent nice and well ventilated but keeping out those unwanted bugs as well. Or with the zip configuration on this door, you can actually choose to sort of drop the door down from the top however much you want, a quarter, halfway, up to yourself, just again to give you a really good opportunity of ventilation within the tent. If we step back into it, you'll certainly see there's plenty of space in here, lots and lots of head height. I'm quite tall at about 1.95 m, and you can see I can stand up in here no problem at all. And certainly there's plenty of space in here for tables, chairs, furniture and storage. I think the space in here is really accentuated as well thanks to those large windows that I highlighted certainly at the front of the tent. There's also a large window on the side as well. If you do want a little bit of privacy, there is a curtain which is just rolled away at the moment at the bottom of this window here. But that can either be brought up halfway or fully if you want that little bit more privacy within the tent. On this side of the tent you find that there's another entrance, so a side entrance here, and again you can just see here that this has a full zipped mesh door as well. So as I said before, lots and lots of opportunity for ventilation within the tent but keeping out those unwanted bugs. So just going back to the frame, what I just want to point out, so as I mentioned, it uses our one-go inflation technology. So what that means is, as I said, it all goes up in one, and that's thanks to these beams that run from the front to the back of the tent that join the main tubes from side to side. Now that allows, as I said there, quick, easy inflation, but what it also does is it gives you a huge amount of stability on the tent as well. If the wind is coming from the front, because you have this tube that runs from the front to back, it almost acts as a sort of bracer type beam just to stop the tent from moving around quite as much in windy conditions. An important point at the top here, you'll find that we have shut-off valves as well. So at the moment this is just switched to the off position. So when you first purchase the tent and you blow it up, these will all be open to allow it to go up in one. But then when we come inside, all we have to do is just switch these to the off position. Now what that does is it actually individualises each and every tube, just ensuring that in the unlikely event of something going wrong, the whole tent's not going to come down, it would just be whichever tube had an issue with it. As I say though, that's very unlikely. Some other features then just to point out, you have a lantern hanging point in a good central location in the middle of the tent just here. And then running away from that, you'll find that we have cable tidies, which run all the way down to the ground here, which is where you'll find our cable entry point. So this just zips open, allowing you to run your electrics and your cables into the tent without having to have any of the doors open. While I'm down here, I'll just highlight the ground sheet. So this is an Oxford polyester ground sheet that we're using in here. So it's a very good quality material. It's totally waterproof with a hydrostatic head of 5,000 mil. It's completely sealed from side to side and front to back. So again, you're not going to get any drafts coming in, keep out dust and dirt and things like that. And again, those unwanted bugs should be kept out as well. It is bathtub in style as well, so as I say, it just come up at the sides, not allowing any drafts into the tent. There is actually quite a lot of space in here, and what we do as an optional extra is a bedroom. So you can actually choose to have a bedroom either down one side of the tent or on the other side, depending on the setup that you have at the back. So at the back here is where our link access zone is. So this is the area between the vehicle and the tent itself. Again, you've got two large doors here. We obviously just have one open at the moment. You can choose to have them fully open at the back here as well if you wish. In this area, this ground sheet comes with the tent. So a nice sort of dry area between the vehicle and the tent. And again, the ground sheet you can see comes up at the edge here, just again stopping any draft from sort of coming in from through the back here as well. And again, a really good space in this area too. What I'd like to do now is just point out some of the features on the outside of the tent. So we have a few different variations of being able to attach the drive-away awning to the vehicle that you have. All angles are covered here, so no matter what the setup on your vehicle, you should find a way of simply attaching this onto it. So the fly sheet that we're using on here is our Outex 6000, and this particular material is a 150 denier taffeta polyester. Now what that means is that you're getting a top quality material for your fly sheet here, which is of course completely waterproof with a hydrostatic head of 6,000 millimeters. That's thanks to all of the seams being fully taped and being PU coated throughout inside as well, as I say, making it completely waterproof. We have pre-attached guy lines all the way around the tent here, so these are our classic luminous guy lines, so nice and bright, so hopefully that should stop you from tripping over them quite as easily. Each guy line has its own retainer as well, so when it comes to packing down the tent, we can simply just wrap up the guy lines in our hands and pop them into here, so that the next time we come to use the tent, the guy lines are easily accessible and you don't have to waste time sort of trying to untangle them all. We actually have our easy pegging system on use here as well, so that's where we supply you with 3 different types of pegs. We have the solid steel anchor pegs for the 4 corners of the tent, and those go into the grey pegging points. We have the black plastic pegs for all the other pegging points around the side, which are all also black, and we also have our luminous peg here to go with the luminous guy lines, so making sure that you're going to get the right peg in the right place. Just some other features to highlight here would be the ventilation panels towards the back of the tent here. Now I've already mentioned on the inside the amount of mesh doors and things like that, but we do also have these panels as well, so that if it is a bit miserable weather-wise, we can still open these up and get good ventilation, and you'll find that there's a mesh panel underneath here. If it gets a little bit chilly, then we can simply take these away with the Velcro straps like this. At the back, as I said earlier on, is where the link access zone is, and you'll just find at the bottom of that we have a mud valance just to encourage any rainwater to run down and away from that area between the vehicle and the tent. Again, I highlighted earlier on the inside that the tent has large windows throughout. Each one of these windows is actually tinted, so that on a day like today, you can actually get a little bit of reflection from the sun, keeping you a little bit more comfortable. But more importantly, obviously, you're going to get a little bit more privacy within the tent as well. So there are a couple of optional extras available for this drive-away awning, and that would include a carpet for inside here, just keeping you a little bit more comfortable. There's also a footprint available to go underneath the ground sheet, which is quite handy for when you're packing away, keeping everything clean and dry. And there's also, as I mentioned earlier, an optional extra of a bedroom for the tent as well. So there you have it, that's all of the features of our Hollywood Freeway tall. Thanks very much for watching.